See, some people very often would say, JC, if I was making the money that you're making, if I had your position, I'd show up earlier, I'd dress sharper, I'd do this, I do that. I said, that's why you'll never get to that position. Because in this universe, in this planet, it doesn't work like that. I don't accept just anybody, because here's one thing you have to understand about building an organization. If you set the bar high, you lose the losers. If you set the bar low though, you lose the winners. I'm not losing the winners. I'm attracting winners. Because here's the deal, remember that I mentioned, act as if. I acted as if the guy that everybody wanted to work with before everybody wanted to work with that guy. You want to first have, then do, then be. It doesn't work like that. You have to first be, then do the things, and then only then will you have the stuff. What up, family? Welcome to the DNG podcast. JC Rangel, we're going to get into it. So here's the deal. I was asked by somebody to come out on their podcast. He has a very popular podcast on direct sales and all kinds of stuff like that. And he wanted me to come on his podcast, and I'm going to do it, to talk about how I got recognized as a #1 salesperson, mentor, and the #1 recruiter for the fastest growing solar company on planet Earth, right? So that's a pretty big accomplishment. Out of 6,000 active reps, I outsold all of them, and I out-recruited all of them, and I have the fastest growing team in the entire company. And it got me thinking. I said, all right, I'm gonna go on this guy's podcast, I'm gonna talk about it, but shit, I got my own doggone podcast. Why don't I do that episode? That's a great idea. I don't know how come I didn't think about this earlier. I'm actually a little bit embarrassed that I didn't think about this earlier. So that's what this podcast is about, right? I'm gonna get into the things that, now whether you're in power or you're not in power, anybody that's in sales or anybody that wants to accomplish things, some of the things that I'm going to share with you today are some valuable things that you can go out there and apply in your business. I know that I have friends of mine that are with WFG. Some people are with a network marketing company, or Primerica, or EXP Realty, or with Powur, a bunch of different companies. And you could benefit from some of this information, because I mean, this is definitely is something that I'm proud of, right? Out recruiting 6,000 people, out selling 6,000 people. So how did I do it? We're going to get into that here today. Okay, so how did I do it? So here's the deal. First, let's start off with the win formula. I am a trainer in sales, and I've done direct sales and network marketing for a long, long time. And one of the things I train on often is the win formula. So it starts with the win formula, which is an acronym. It's WIIN. So the first thing is you've got to be willing. I knew what it took to do this. See, my background is in network marketing, and I did also real estate. So when I saw Powur, I said, solar, average commission, $7,000. I like that. Those are big commissions. Who doesn't like big commissions? But you've also got the team building aspect. That is the #1 ingredient for my success. The business model that Powur has. Powur has, and I recommend you guys check out the episode where I talked about how to grow a huge sales organization. I talked about the business model and how to do it. And a big key is you've got to have a comp plan, because comp plan drives behavior. You've got to have the comp plan that drives that behavior. So Powur's business model is a business model that is designed for you to grow a company within a company. Now, I'm nothing special. Listen, I got started with Powur April 2020. What started in April 2020? The pandemic. We were 2 weeks into the pandemic. So when that happened and we're 2 weeks into the pandemic, and I'm starting off in a new career path, right? I won't get into what happened prior, some really bad things in business happened prior to that. I won't get into that, but that's when I started. So my first full year was 2021. And that is a year that I got these accomplishments by the company. You can find them online. #1 recruiter and mentor in the company, right? And so, but what was it that did it? It was a business model that I was able to build a company within a company, because there is 12-year veterans in Powur. You know, when I got started, there's 5-year, 6-year, 7-year veterans. But here's the deal. When I got started, I was very bold about it. I wrote my goals down. That is where it starts. I wrote my goals down. I said, this is what I'm going to do. And I wrote down my goals as if they had already happened. I said, I'm so happy and grateful now that I have made $500,000 in commissions my first full year with the company. I'm so happy and grateful now that I am the #1 mentor in the company. I'm so happy and grateful now that I am the #1 recruiter in the company, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's a bunch of different goals, right? But I wrote down my goals, very specific with the dates, and I talked about them and I wrote them down as if they had already happened. I spoke about them in the present, right? I'm so happy and grateful now that I am the top producer, the top salesperson, the top recruiter in the entire company, right? I spoke it into existence. So here's the steps. Dream, declare, deliver. You've got to dream it up. I dreamt it up. I declared it to the world, and then I delivered. So here's what happens. When I barely got started, 2020, sometime in 2020, I went on a Facebook group that we have, thousands of people in that group. And I wrote in the group, within a year, I will be the #1 mentor in this company, mark my words. I wasn't disrespecting anybody. I was simply saying what my goals were. Well, apparently some people didn't like that too much. They took offense to it, as a matter of fact. And they started writing things like, who do you think you are? I'm a 12-year veteran. Some other guy's like, I'm a 7-year veteran. You are a rookie, and what are you talking about? And that'll never happen. You won't even be around 6 months from now. All kinds of stuff like that. And I wrote back to them. Anybody that knows me knows that I don't really keep my mouth shut. But I was still respectful, and I said, here's the deal. You guys don't understand. You don't even understand what you have here. You guys are transactional salespeople trying to simply sell solar. And you're barely building. If anything, you're building. I'm a builder. I know how to sell. I'm a sales professional. And I do remember this part. I said, selling solar, because here's what I believe about selling solar. The mindset that you go into it as well has a lot to do with it. And here's what I told them. I said, solar isn't a sales presentation. It's an IQ test. You take a customer's existing bill that they're already used to paying. They know they're going to pay it the rest of their life. And we're going to save them money. And in California, we're going to cut that bill in half. For zero out of pocket, we're going to cut a bill in half. It's the only purchase that you can make that will put more money in your pocket by making it. There's no other purchase that could do that, right? We're adding value to their house. We're stabilizing their payment. So I told them, solar is an IQ test. You guys don't seem to understand. I've sold some very hard things in the past. Selling solar is kind of like I was used to hunting wolves. Now that I'm selling solar, you're asking me to hunt baby rabbits. This is easy. You guys don't understand. Not only that, with the mentorship model that the company has, a 50-50 split sale, once you close 8 sales, and you could do 50-50 split sales for anybody in the entire company, that's how I'm going to outproduce all of you guys, because I'm going to build the fastest, baddest, meanest team in the entire company. And I'm going to outperform all of you. You guys don't understand. You don't know who you're dealing with, and time will tell. Because here's the truth about life and business. Time will either promote you or expose you. So I went to work. Less than a year later, boom, #1 mentor. Starting year 2021, hit #1 mentor for that month. Next month, hit #1 mentor. And I'm smoking it, but now I've got mentors that are kicking their asses. I've got people on my team that are kicking their ass. But what did I do? I had the win formula. #1, you got to be willing. Willing to do what? You got to be willing to pay the price. You got to be willing to learn. You got to be willing to work long hours. You've got to be willing to do what other people are not willing to do. And I was willing to do that. The I, remember there's 2 I's, W-I-I-N. The I stands for inspire and inspired. You've got to be inspired, and you've got to inspire. Now, you don't have to go out there and motivate people. You could inspire them by your actions. I say, I'm going to inspire people. I'm going to be inspired to put in that hard work that needs to be put in to accomplish these big goals that my big mouth got me into, right? So I'm going to go out there and be inspired enough to go out there and pay the price, and then that is going to inspire others as well, right? And then the second I stands for initiative. So the first one is inspire and or inspired. The second one is initiative. You got to be willing to take the initiative. I don't have to explain that very much. And the N stands for never, never quit. Guess what? I already knew that in the sales world, there's a bunch of obstacles that are going to come along. Obstacles are going to come. People are going to cancel. People are going to say no. People are going to tell you, I'm going to join your sales organization. I'm going to start working with you, and then they're not going to join. Deals are going to cancel, et cetera, right? A lot of things are going to happen. I already know that. I'm not going to quit. I know that if I keep chugging along, if I keep learning and keep applying, keep making mistakes, because I'm going to make mistakes, it's all right. Here's the deal. We win some, we learn some. That's my philosophy. You win some, you learn some. Most people's philosophy is you win some, you lose some, and then in their mind, oh man, I just lose a lot, and they dwell on the losing. I'm looking forward, hey man, if I got to lose and fail 1,000 times before I hit that $1 million, let's get to it. Let's get to these losses. I don't care, because I don't call them losses, I call them lessons, right? I win some and I learn some. So as I mentioned, act as if, right? Dream, declare, deliver, and act as if. I acted as if already I had 10 years experience and I was already the number one guy. I acted as if with my customers, right? I acted as if, now, don't get me wrong, that I didn't never lie to my customers. If there was a question I couldn't answer, I said, great question, let me get you the answer. But I prepared myself as best as I can, but my confidence is what I'm referring to. I acted as if I deserved to win. See, most people don't win because they don't believe that they deserve to win. They think, oh, it's because I'm new. I don't deserve to win. I don't deserve to make $500,000 my first year, $1 million, whatever the number is, my first year, because whether consciously or unconsciously, they believe that they don't deserve to win. And write this down. This is such a key note. You will perform the way that you see yourself. Everybody performs how they see themselves, whether it's conscious or unconscious. So you have to consciously act as if. You have to consciously tell yourself that you're a winner. So I told myself, I'm the number one mentor. I'm the number one mentor. I'm kicking so much ass. I'm helping so many people. People's lives are better because of me. The people that work with me and my customers that give me their business, that I earn their business, are better because of me than not. And when people would ask me in the beginning, they don't ask me this too often, but in the beginning they would ask me, why should I join your team versus anybody else's team? And I said, because you're going to make a lot more money than me, and we are the fastest growing team in the organization, and we're going to create more millionaires than the entire company put together. And guess what? I believed it. I acted as if. I acted then. Here's the deal. Here's another tip. Act the way you want to feel, and soon you will feel the way you act. See, I knew that 20 years ago. Act the way you want to feel, and soon you will feel the way you act. You ever met a pathological liar? They lie so much and so hard that they actually believe their BS. Well, guess what? When you act the way you want to feel, you can fake it with yourself. Act as if. Act as if you deserve it. The version of you, see, I thought to myself, the version of me as a solar pro, the version of me as a number one mentor, what kind of effort, what kind of confidence is he gonna have? What kind of this, what kind of that? And I started, boom, boom, boom. I said, I'm acting like that right now because I understand the be, do, have. Be, do, have. Most people want to have, then be, then do, right? Be, do, have means I'm going to be the person right now. How does that person show up? How do they dress? How do they talk? Or do they show up on time, or do they show up late? Are they in before the rest of them and out after? How are they? Okay, I'm going to be like that now. See, some people very often would say, JC, very often people tell me this. JC, if I was making the money that you're making, if I had your position, I'd show up earlier. I'd dress sharper. I'd do this, I do. I said, that's why you'll never get to that position. Because in this universe, in this planet, it doesn't work like that. You want to first have, then do, then be. It doesn't work like that. You have to first be, then do the things, and then only then will you have the stuff. So let's get into some of the details that I did. I got started, as you guys know, with Powur, you've got we sell solar, so number one thing we do, but we also team build. Team building is completely optional. I came in here not to take part, but to take over. I said that from the beginning. The only way I was going to take over is to build the fastest growing team with the most highly trained people. And I always tell my team, listen, a highly paid team, a highly trained team equals a highly paid team. So we started training them on the stuff that I know. So here's what I did. From about 8 a.m. to about 3 p.m., I was making phone calls. I started selling and team building at the same time. I didn't go and start selling and then eventually start recruiting. No. I started recruiting people from the beginning. I recruited 20 people into my sales organization month one. And it took me 11 weeks to get to the mentor position. To get to the mentor position, if you are a brand new person that doesn't have experience in solar, it takes 8 personal sales, 3 with a mentor and 5 on your own. It took me 11 weeks to get there. How did I do it? From 8 till about 3, I was on the phone. I averaged about 4,000 minutes per month. I was on the phone not only from 8 to 3. I was on the phone afterwards, and I'm going to explain. But from 8 to 3, I was calling people that I knew. My goal was within a month, I wanted 200 people to know, beyond the shadow of a doubt, minimum 200 people, to know that I was a solar pro. That well, maybe not a solar pro, right, because I was new, but that I was in the solar business. But I acted as if I was a solar pro. So I teach my people to this day, you should get 200 people that know beyond the shadow of a doubt that you are in the solar business. So guess what? Whenever they think about solar, they think about you. So that was my goal. I was just firing. I don't make phone calls. I fire off phone calls. So I was calling people to inform them that I was in the solar business. I was calling homeowners to get their electric bills. I was calling people to recruit them into my business for them to check out a presentation for us to meet, for me to show them what it was that I was doing. And I was selling them a big, big vision. I was telling them what I was going to do. And some people believed that I was going to do something major. And they said, JC, I ended up joining you because I was afraid not to join you because I knew that you were going to go to the top with this company. Matter of fact, one of my guys, let me give a shout out to two of my buddies, Anthony Bonilla and Rafael Palomino. These guys absolutely crushed it. Some of the first guys that I brought on board. And till this day, they're rocking with me, making a ton of money, doing some incredible things. But I started calling. I was mainly on the phone from 8 to 3. Why? Because from 3 till about 7 or 8, I was hitting the field. I was door knocking or visiting new homeowners. Those of you guys that work with me, you know that I do the training on new homeowners. I gave them the script. I asked my leadership. I said, does anybody have a script or training on visiting new homeowners? I want to visit new homeowners with a pool. My buddy Jonathan Brunasso says, nobody has that, bro. I haven't seen anybody do that. I said, no worries. I'm going to go out there and create the script. I'm going to go out there and fall on my face. I'm going to go out there and make the mistakes that need to be made, but I'm going to figure out the proper script for me to go out there and make it happen. Mind you, I'm brand new to solar. I started doing this week 1. Here's what I did. I went to JCPenney. I bought some polo shirts, and I took them to a local embroidery place. And I got the logo, the Powur logo, embroidered on the chest and on the sleeve. Then I went and I designed some business cards for myself. I didn't even go to a place because I just want to order them fast. I went to gotprint.com. I designed my first business cards. I'm going to add a picture of that business card here. And then, that's not the business card I use now. It's ugly, but that's what I did. I designed my own flyer on canva.com. I sent it to a printer, printed me out these business cards and these flyers. So with my polo shirt and my business cards and my flyers, I went out there and I started visiting new homeowners, and I just wrote up a script and I edited the script along the way. And that's what I did. In 11 weeks, I was able to hit the mentor position. By 11 weeks, I had 40 people in my sales organization, 40. And I had completed the required amount of sales for me to become a mentor. So it took me 11 weeks. I started probably March 30th, April 1st, right around there. So by roughly about June, maybe right before July, is when I hit mentor. When I hit mentor in the company, since then, I've never once had to look for a client again because of the nature of the business model. I get assigned 2 to 10 leads a day of homeowners that say, here's my bill. Here's my information, my phone number, my email, my name, and my utility bill. Present to me. Till this day, because of the business model that we have, because I knew the magic is in the building of the team. Now, that was 40 people in 40 days. 20 to 22 of those people, roughly, I personally recruited, right? And it led to about 40. Fast forward today, two years later, because as of the recording of this video, we're in May of 2022. So what is that? 25 months into it, there's over 1,000 people between consultants and ambassadors as a part of my sales organization. And we've got people that are making yearly income, sometimes on a weekly basis. A lot has changed. It's very interesting what can happen. You know, Tony Robbins often talks about, he says, it's interesting because people they very drastically overestimate what they could do in a year, but they underestimate what they could do in a decade, right? So I put my head down and I went to work, and that's what I did in the beginning. 4,000 minutes a month. Because guess what? Even when I was visiting new homeowners, I was making phone calls. I was making follow-ups, and I was working till about 10 p.m., sometimes 11 p.m. I was going hard. I was working 6 days a week. I would work Saturdays or I would work Sundays, but I was working every weekend. And here's the deal. Working weekends is one of the big separators in sales and entrepreneurship. Just in anything, even in sports, putting that work in on the weekend. What most people don't think about it, the weekends, You got less competitors of yours working on the weekend, and you got more of your homeowners ready to do business on the weekend for the most part, right? Depending on the industry that you're in. But that's what I did. As I mentioned in the prior bullet point, I said that I started selling and recruiting at the same time. Recruiting is a big part of my game. I'm a firm believer of leveraged income, right? I could take a whole month off and I'm gonna get paid a ton of money for that month, significantly more than what my expenses are because of the team building model that we've got, because of the passive override income that is a boatload of money every single Friday, passive income. So here's what I did. How did I recruit? Simple. Facts, tell, stories, sell. One of the keys for recruiting in general, and this is no exception for me, is facts, tell, stories, sell. Think about it. When you were a kid, you were told bedtime stories, not bedtime facts. So when I barely got started, I started sharing the presentation, not one that I did. Now I share the presentations that I did. You know, matter of fact, in this very studio, in my podcast studio, I record some presentations for my business because I said, I like the way these presentations are done by other people, but I can do one that's better for me and my people. So I eventually ended up creating my own. But I started sharing the presentations. I started inviting people to the business showcases that we would do, whether they were via Zoom or whether they were live, right? And then I started meeting with people. I started getting on the phone with people and I started selling them the vision. Now, one of the visions that I sold is this. Powur Energy is the eXp Realty equivalent of the solar industry. We literally copy them to the T. And some people may think that that's a negative thing. It's actually not. It's actually a very smart thing. People that don't understand business and how to make billions of dollars. Now, I've never made billions, I've made millions, but I've seen companies that have made billions. They understand this philosophy, which is what? It's okay to be a copycat as long as you copy the right cat. Well, eXp Realty is a $1 billion company, fastest growing real estate company on planet Earth in the history of real estate. They're smoking everybody. eXp is beating Remax, Century 21, Keller Williams, all of them. So the CEO of our company had the vision, and this is part of the conversation that I have with people, and the CEO of the company had a vision. He saw what eXp was doing because 4 years ago, we didn't have the model that we have now. So he had the vision, just look at what eXp did with real estate. We could do that with solar. So they made a switch. Ever since they made that switch, in 2019, the following year, they copied that model, which is what? A revenue share model. Cloud-based real estate brokerage is eXp. We are a cloud-based solar brokerage, right? Revenue share that gives people the ability to build a company within a company. That's what eXp did. That's what we did. It's identical. They are already a public company. We're going public in the next 18 to 24 months. They gave their people stock options before they went public. We get stock options. I got a ton of stock options because it's a part of the compensation plan. That's why I tell my people, listen, man, if in the next 5 years, I'm not worth $200 million, this is my goal, right? Everybody has their goals. I've got my goals. If in the next 5 years, I'm not worth $200 million because of this opportunity and making $1 million a month, I did something wrong. I messed up somewhere. And that's what I honestly believe. And that's what my goals that are written down say. Okay? Now, when the time gets there, we'll see if that number got hit. But those are my goals today. So facts tell, stories tell. So I started telling the eXp story because it's so relevant. And I started recruiting a bunch of eXp realtors. So I went to town and I started building a team. When Powur copied eXp's model in 2019, guess what? In 2020, Powur hit the Inc. 5000 list. We were number 938 on the Inc. 5000 list. 2021, last year, we were number 61. We went from 938 to number 61 in a year. And we're the newest solar company out there. And we are now smoking everybody. New consultant, new sales, new installs, all across the board. I started selling that story and I just sold the story over and over and over. Why? Because facts tell, stories sell. People often ask me, how many hours a week did you work? I worked between 60 and 80 hours per week when I barely got started. Roughly for the first 6 months. Because here's the deal. In business, you have to understand, and not only that, not only business, but in business and in life, you understand that success is created through momentum, and life is about momentum. You have to first create that momentum. You have to launch your business. You have to explode your business. It's like you're not only when you're barely getting started in a business are you at a standstill, but you're at a standstill in the mud. Guess what? You don't get out of the mud. You have to explode out of the mud. And how do you do that? With massive effort. And you're not going to see a lot of results. Here's the deal. I didn't write my first contract until 5 weeks into it. Later on, that contract, about less than a month later, ended up canceling. So it took me 5 weeks to write my first contract. I got to mentor in 11 weeks. How did I go from 0 sales in 11 weeks, finally get a sale, which cancels? But then just another 6 weeks later, I complete all the necessary sales. Momentum. Think of momentum like this. And I understood this a long time ago. Momentum is like, imagine pushing a 1970 Cadillac up a little hill. It doesn't even have to be a little hill. You know those long Cadillacs, those heavy Cadillacs, those old school cars? Imagine, forget the hill. You're just pushing that Cadillac, pushing it over and over and over and over, and you push it so many times and you do it so persistently that eventually you get the Cadillac moving. Now it's moving. And you keep pushing it, and eventually you could push that Cadillac with a finger. Why? Momentum. What was the difference? It's the same Cadillac. It doesn't weigh any less. How can you push it with a finger when the beginning is so incredibly hard? Momentum, persistence, right? So persistence wears out resistance. So guess what? As you're doing it, same thing with the business. So I understood I got to put a massive condensed amount of effort with an incredible attitude. I got to put my goals out on Front Street. I'm going to beat everybody. I basically told everybody, oh, you are competing for number 2 because there's a new sheriff in town. I didn't come here to take part. I came here to take over. And that is the case. And that is exactly what happened. Now, here's the deal. With leverage income, you can be, when you have the right business with leverage income in a product that you believe in, which is a product that I believe in, that is one of the keys to success. I believe in this. This is a win-win-win. This industry is a win-win-win. The customer wins. I cut their bill in half. I add value to their house. It's a no-brainer. Cost them $0 out of pocket. They're actually more wealthy because they did business with me than not, because they were paying $200 a month. Now they're paying $100 a month. I put an extra $1,200 in their pocket year 1 and more money year 2. It's an easy sale, is my point, right? So they win. I win because I made a commission. Guess what? This planet wins as well. So you have to believe, and I believe in this industry. Now that I picked the right industry, I had to pick the right company inside of this industry, because this company has a leveraged income, the stock options. I own a piece of this company with every sale. I own a piece of the company because I earn stock options. I'm building leverage income. I'm building people. I'm helping them create a passive income, earn a percentage of this company, right? So in the beginning, you have to understand what a leveraged income business, which is what we have here at Powur, you're in a position where all you got to do is be temporarily motivated to be permanently lazy. So I put in all of that hard work. Guess what? Do you think I still work 60, 70, 80 hours a week now? No, I don't. I work about 30 to 40. I've got 2 personal assistants. I'm hiring another full-time employee for my business. I've got an office with a training room of 50 people. We've got 1,000 people selling solar between consultants and ambassadors. It's a little bit of a different situation. We've got about almost 30 mentors on our team that are closing deals virtually. And we got a ton of people joining our team every single day. But it didn't start that way. It started with a vision. It started with the goals. It started with writing down the goals. Dream, declare, deliver. Now, the next one is simple. I worked with the willing. You know, in direct sales and in recruiting, there's a saying, you got to work with the willing. I work with the willing. With who? The customers that were willing to work with me. The customers that were willing to look at a presentation. The customers that were willing to see a solar savings report. I also work with the willing as far as the team that I brought on board, because this is very important. Here's the deal. If you have to drag somebody across the starting line, they're not going to finish the finish line with you. You know, there's people that I run into that tell me, hey, JC, matter of fact, this happened literally last week. This guy asked me, hey, is there any promotions with the company? Some guy that wants to work with me. And I said, promotions? I mean, there's a promotion for customers right now. Is that what you're referring to? He says, no, I'm talking about for people like me that want to get started with Powur. And I said, no, there's no promotions. It's $99 one time, $49 a month for your own solar business, because that's what it is. You're not a solar sales rep with us. You are your own solar dealer, your own solar broker. He says, oh, because so-and-so, I won't mention the name, so-and-so is offering for me to pay for me my way in to the company. I said, that's fantastic. You should probably go to that guy's team. He said, no, that's not what I said. I said, no, here's the deal. The fact that you are insinuating that I pay for you, now you have to pay me for my time if you want to join my team. Because see, there's some teams that'll take anybody and everybody. That's that guy. I know he does that. I don't do that. See, this here is a Navy SEALs of this company. We are the best of the best. We're the fastest growing organization in this company, the fastest growing office. We have more people kicking more butt than anybody else. We don't need to pay anybody. Matter of fact, if it was up to me, it costs $5,000 to open up your own solar brokerage with Powur, but it only costs $100. So if you're looking for a way out with $100, you're not the type of guy that I want to work with. Frankly, it's not worth my time, with all due respect. He apologized profusely. Long story short, yesterday he texted me, says he wants to get started. I have yet to sign him up because I've just been too busy with my day, and he's not a priority. The point is, I work with the willing. I don't accept just anybody, because here's one thing you have to understand about building an organization. If you set the bar high, you lose the losers. If you set the bar low, though, you lose the winners. I'm not losing the winners. I'm attracting winners. Because here's the deal. Remember that I mentioned, act as if. I acted as if the guy that everybody wanted to work with before everybody wanted to work with that guy. Now, some people that knew my trajectory from before, they knew, hey, if you're doing this, I know you're going to the top, I want to lock arms with you. But there's some people that didn't know my trajectory, but because I acted as if from the beginning and I had the posture, a lot of you guys, and I'm going to say it like that because it's the truth, a lot of people, the majority of people, have a wishbone where a backbone should be. Then they wonder how come they're not successful, because you don't act as if, because you don't even believe in yourself, because you wouldn't follow yourself, you wouldn't buy from you, you wouldn't work with you, so why would anybody else? Does that make sense? You need to have a backbone instead of a wishbone. You see those bumps, you feel those bumps back there? That's a backbone, you've got to use it. I use it from day one, because I learned this information a long time ago. So I work with the willing. The next one is I focused on the proper output instead of the outcome. Most people tend to focus on the outcome, the results. I know that if I put enough of the right activity with the right attitude, meaning the right outcome, the output will take care of itself. I'm not concerned. I'm not emotionally attached, and I haven't been for many years. I'm not emotionally attached to the decision. Tell me yes or tell me no, but tell me fast, because I've got to go. Whether it's somebody who wants to work with me or whether it's a customer that wants to do business with me. I'm unemotionally attached to the result, because guess what? That's what sales is. Sales is about going out there and building your pipeline. And I just focus on building my pipeline. I'm unemotional to the results. Here's what I know. I'm going to build the biggest organization. I'm going to continue to build the biggest organization, help more people make more money, help more customers go solar than anybody in the entire company. Now, where are all those people, all those customers, all those team members going to come from? That's none of my business. You know what is my business? Getting up in the morning and going hard until the sun goes down. That's my business. And then showing other people how to do likewise. That's my business. Anything outside of that, I don't spend a lot of time in. The ones that said no, that business was not meant for me. I don't dwell on it. I don't throw a pity party of it. I don't care. On to the next. Tell me yes, tell me fast. Tell me yes or tell me no, but tell me fast, because I've got to go. Here's some additional tips that I'm going to give you that I did. I always give people this tip. I say, you got to dream bigger, faster. Dream bigger, faster. A lot of times people don't accomplish things that they want to accomplish because they've got tiny goals. You know, Les Brown says, it isn't that people aim too high and miss, it's that people aim too low and hit. From the beginning, making a goal to be the #1 mentor, the #1 recruiter, the fastest growing team, and all these other things that we literally wrote on paper, that did seem like a lofty goal. Did doubt enter my mind? Yes. Here's the thing about a winner's mindset. A winner's mindset is this: when doubt enters your mind, it doesn't stay around and linger in the mind. Winners make a habit of pre-playing their future success, and they get excited about it as if it already happened. And they get to the point of unconscious competence to do that. Losers, here's what they do. They replay their past failures and success and the past reasons of why they are not who they are. And they don't believe that they deserve success. And guess what? Sometimes you can't blame them. Because if you still have that lack of discipline to bring in to what you're doing right now, I understand. But see, it takes a decision. I made a decision right then and there. I'm going to go to the top. And guess what? If I end up with egg on my face and I'm not the #1 mentor, recruiter, or whatever I set out to be, then so be it. But guess what? I'm going to put my goals out there and I'm going to go after it. The other thing is, I never let my foot off the gas. I got up to a comfortable position where I had a lot of people joining the team. I had a lot of leads. I had a lot of deals. Currently, right now, I've got about 60 deals that I've sold on the way to installation. That's a lot of money stacked up just in sold deals already, signed contracts. A lot of people joining the team. I always personally recruit. I always personally sell. And I always train and I duplicate other people because I understand that leadership leads by example. But here's a key about why we are kicking so much butt and why we're going to continue to kick so much butt is that it isn't about growing by addition. It's about growing by multiplication. There's a lot of people out there that they post ads and they do paid ads and they're just recruiting and they're adding by addition, but they're not creating any duplication in their recruiting. We train our people. We have secret trainings and we do trainings, and we have a training system and a training academy that shows people a duplicatable system on how to sell and how to build a massive organization. Not only that, we build people to the point where they believe that not only that they deserve to achieve these big levels of success, but they are able to achieve these big levels of success. And here's the deal, proximity. When you understand the power of proximity, when you work with winners, when you work with people that have the results, when you work with people that believe bigger, faster, what happens to your belief? It goes up. What happens to your skill when you hang out with other people that are more skilled than you? They go up. So that is some of the keys that that I did in order to get to this position, and why my focus for 2022 is to help other people level up to those levels. My goals for this year is not to be, frankly, the number one mentor, number one recruiter. It's my family. The philosophy is this, and this was my philosophy from day one, and way before Powur, this was my philosophy. We do not use the people to build a company. We use a company to build people. We use our company, our systems, our training, our leadership to build strong people. And if you build strong people, you build their confidence, you build their skills, you build their abilities, they're going to go out there and build a strong company. So anyways, JC Rangel, like, comment, subscribe. And as always, I'll see you guys at the top or from the top. Take care.